I met Janet way back in the Greater Cleveland Young Republican Club. As a matter of fact, the first time I laid eyes on her, she was, we were both campaigning for a guy named Tom Ireland, who was running for mayor of the city of Cleveland, and she was passing out cookies, and I was blowing up balloons. And I think she thought she was marrying a young lawyer who was really going to make it.
I did.
And she ended up marrying a poor politician. Above the laundromat across the street from the Salvation Army thrift store right at 152nd and Aspinwall. And in fact, when I brought the media to Cleveland a couple of months ago, it's now George's pawn shop.
After the wedding, George and Janet set up housekeeping in an apartment near George's Collinwood law practice. George toiled away as a neighborhood lawyer until one day a call came from the Ohio Attorney General's office. They wanted George to join the staff, and he accepted. Shortly thereafter, George Voinovich's political career began to take shape. In 1966, he was elected to the Ohio House of Representatives.
When I was elected, it was the biggest upset in Ohio because my district was 6-1 Democrat. And my grandfather, who came over here from Yugoslavia, had never, ever voted for a Republican. He said, "George, you're the first Republican I'm voting for." And I said, "Grandpa, if I wasn't Slovenian, I probably wouldn't get elected."
At first, the campaign trail didn't agree with Janet Voinovich.
I remember the early days. We'd go to picnics.
Now don't tell too many stories.
Oh, yes.
Well, no, well, we go out and we go out and campaign, you know, and then she'd say, "You didn't even look at me. You didn't even know I was here," you know, because I'm out campaigning, and she was very close to me. But today we'll go to somewhere and she takes off and I take off, because one of the things is there are a lot of people at a reception, and it's almost impossible for you to meet everybody. And so we kind of just go out and she meets people and I meet people, and then we bump into each other, you know, halfway through. But
sometimes we end up shaking hands with oh, hello, oh, it's you.
In 1971, George was elected Cuyahoga County Auditor. 5 years later, he became a county commissioner. In 1978, George Voinovich turned back to state government, serving as lieutenant governor under Jim Rhodes. His campaign was a genuine family affair.
We all campaign together.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. In a lot of families, politics has a way of pulling families apart. And in our particular case, politics really brought the family together. It was like glue. The kids campaigned with us. In fact, when they were very young, I told them, I said, if I was a farmer, you'd be out in the field working. I'm a politician, so you're going with me.
During those years, Janet and George had 4 children. George Jr.,
sing out loud, sing out
Betsy,
sing of good things, not bad.
Peter,
Sing of happy, not sad.
and Molly.
Sing a song, make it simple.
It was a strong, close family who did things together and enjoyed each other's company.
The number one thing in our lives between the two of us was bringing our children up. As busy as he's always been, the kids were always number one. And whenever there was a problem, and it remains that way today, they can talk to their dad. We'll drop everything, you know, to work with the kids.
In 1979, their youngest daughter, Molly, was the victim of a fatal traffic accident at the age of 9.
As I think about this evening, I think of the children, I think of JNF, and I think of Israel. And I think any one of those three things should make, as you leave here tonight, make you feel very good. And last but not least, it's in honor of our daughter, our little Molly. And as I said at Ruthie's house the other night, there are many people here in this room that have experienced tragedies, they have experienced losses. Somehow, when that happens, you want to see that love that you have for that little child continue.
And if you think time has forgotten you, well, just look into my eyes and know the times we'll share. Don't hold back your love. I know it's here. I want to see it come to life before my eyes.
The Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Governor. You may now kiss the First Lady.
Oh, George. Well, that's
For everything, Mama.
Yeah.
Ready? Good.
Gone are the days when public officials are measured by how much they spend on a problem. The new realities dictate that public officials are now judged on whether they can work harder and smarter and do more with less. Ohio must recommit to something very fundamental: education. I will be the education governor, and Ohio will be the education state. Because I want you to know that our next First Lady has always been my First Lady. I want you to know that this quiet lady, because of her strong devotion to family values and to volunteerism, is going to make a real mark as the First Lady of the state of Ohio. Today, I would like to introduce to you the next First Lady of the state of Ohio, and God's greatest blessing on George Voinovich, my wife, Janet.
Believe me, I feel very humble in accepting this responsibility, but at the same time, I'm very proud to carry the title of First Lady of Ohio. I will need your help and your guidance, and most of all, I will need your continued prayers. Thank you very much.
We committed ourselves to being the first state in the United States of America to make sure that every child who was eligible, whose parents wanted them to be in that Head Start program, because I understood that what happens in those early years is the most important in terms of how that child is going to do in the future years.
But we're going to have lots of fun. That is funny.
Well, hello, it's Johnny Appleseed.
Governor Voinovich wants women to take care of themselves and stay healthy in the quest to raise awareness. The governor signed a bill today that designates a special day for a very important checkup, a mammogram. Since October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the third Thursday in that month is now Mammography Day, an important thing.
Well, the Help Me Grow campaign is a program we kicked off 3 years ago to try and get women to come in immediately during their first trimester to get the maternal care that they need so that they have a healthy baby, and we reduce infant mortality and low birth babies in the state of Ohio. And it's been working. We're seeing a reduction in infant mortality and healthier babies, like Mary Faith. Also, there are some coupons in there that when they go in to see their physician, they're signed, and then they can exchange at their local drugstore or wherever.
Governor, you have one very unhappy constituent there.
It was on the shores of our great land that freedom was begun. The freedom that they fought for, it's here for you and me. And we're the scouts and we are out to strengthen liberty. Yo-ho, yo-ho, and yo-ho again. The Boy Scouts of today are this country's future men.
Oh my, that sends chills up my spine every time I hear it.
What I expected, Janet came in with the second biggest fish on the boat, and I did better than last year. We had caught actually 8 fish and 3 walleye.
Well, you had the biggest fish.
No, I did.
You didn't?
No, the captain had the biggest
Captain
fish.
had the biggest.
I see.
He had the next one.
No, you had the second.
That was 26 inches, right?
26 and a half.
26 and a half.
26 and a half, yeah.
It all counts.
But not in the United States Senate, not in the United States Congress. We do these appropriation bills, 1 with blinders on, 2 with blinders on, 3 with blinders. We go all the way to the end and just keep ratcheting up a little bit. And then we get to the biggest ones at the end and say, holy coke, we don't have the money. And then Katie barred the door. And that's what's happened the last 2 years I've been here. And I really think, and I urge the President, I urge the Senate leadership, that let's get real. Let's get the stuff out now and look at what we're doing and understand that we can't do everything for everyone, and try and figure out how we can live within the limits that we have to live within. We can do that. It would be the finest thing that I think that we could do for this country. It hasn't been done around here. I don't ever remember if it's ever been done. That if this proposal had come from the other side of the aisle and not from the centrist Bush compromise, that many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisles would have been very much in favor of this proposal. And I'm hoping, as we all go home and look into the eyes of the people that come and see us, that have lost their jobs, that are panicked about health care for themselves and their families, that we start to understand that we have an obligation to touch their lives. And that the first thing that we do when we come back is deal with the stimulus package, so that we can restore people's faith in this economy and restore people's faith that we do care about them. The fact of the matter is, Chris, we have the first time in 30 years to have a real budget surplus if we stick to our guns and not touch Social Security. And the problem with what we've been doing is we've been building the deficit, and it's going up the national debt.
Right.
And my first grandchild, who was born on December the 29th, 1996, gift from the federal government was a bill for $187,000 on interest that she's going to pay for her lifetime because we weren't willing to pay for things as we went along.
Well, you talk like a real fiscal conservative.
You bet I am.
When the bee stings, when the dog bites, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then it's not so bad.
Now you all know why Janet married him.
You know, I don't know how it happened, but I'm married to the right woman, and she's been a safe harbor and friend and confidant, advisor, great mother. You know, she's just been just the right cup of tea. I don't know what it is. It's like something happens, and when I married her, I thought if I get 50% of what I see, I'll be happy. And I got 100% and more.
Someone's thinking of me and loving me tonight.
Somewhere out there, someone saying a prayer that we'll find one another in that big somewhere out there. And even though I know how very far apart we are, it helps to think we might be wishing on the same bright star.
And when the night wind starts to sing a lonesome lullaby, it helps to think we're sleeping underneath the same.
And as darkness falls on Columbus tonight, may the light that shines from Ohio's state capitol remind one and all that the torch of liberty yet burns right here in the heartland of the greatest nation on earth.